Hi, I'm here with Rick Lawler. I'm Barbara Borsack. I'm running for mayor in the village's election in September, and I'm here with one of my running mates, Rick Lawler, who's running for trustee. Rick is presently serving as mayor and doing a wonderful job, job that he didn't really ask for but got pushed into and unexpectedly took over and has been doing a great job. So I'm going to ask Rick a couple of questions and let him talk to everybody about his vision for the village and what his experience has been. And so tell us a little bit about who you are and, what East Hampton means to you, what you've been doing in your life, all that stuff.
Okay, well, I think first and foremost, I'm a fourth generation resident of East Hampton. Enjoyed growing up here in this wonderful bucolic village. It was absolutely a great place to live, great place to have grown up, a lot of fond memories. And that all means something when you get to the point that we are at, where we have a big say in what goes on in the village, and we have control over the direction that the village should go in. And looking back on some of those memories that I have, I think gives me a great perspective on where we are today and where we need to go in the future to keep this the kind of place that we all know and love. And as far as my experiences, back in 1969, I started with the police department here in East Hampton Town, and then transferred to Suffolk County, served in various supervisory positions there, a specialized unit that handled nothing but serious felonies, missing persons unit, kidnapping unit, and finally topped it off with several years as supervising the East End Drug Task Force. So in those years in particular, I spent a lot of time here on the East End and working to make this a better community. As far as my experience in handling large and serious incidents and situations, I was on a specialized team that was sent to assist federal authorities in investigating Flight 800. Was there for a lengthy time at the command post in East Moriches. So I think I'm no stranger to handling large, serious incidents, and I think I have plenty of experience in that vein, and I think that has helped me tremendously in doing what I've done so far today to keep this village safe as far as COVID is concerned. Use some of those past experiences to be able to negotiate a very difficult few months during this COVID experience. I've used some of my relationships with government officials, state, local, and county, and federal, in order to keep this community safe, and I think that it's served me well.
Just to clarify, you have lived in East Hampton all this time, though,
Oh, yes,
even though
absolutely.
you were working for the Suffolk County
Oh,
Police
yes,
Department.
absolutely, sure.
You were living in East
in
Hampton.
fact, my wife and I had to make a decision when I first went with the county, whether or not we were going to move further west, and we decided that we loved it here so much that we were going to stay. So I absolutely commuted every single day for 35 years.
It was a long commute.
Sure it was.
But it's worth it.
It's not as bad as it is today, though, I'll say that.
No, I don't know if you could have done it today.
That would have been
pretty
difficult.
rough.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing in terms of your village service and on the village government?
Well, I'll tell you, since, of course, none of us had any idea that anything like COVID was going to come along, but as you know, I was appointed mayor after serving since 2008 as a trustee. I did a short stint as deputy mayor, and then was appointed mayor in January of this year. And then, of course, COVID hit, and that was a very, very difficult situation. Required a lot of time, and as you know, in conjunction with you, I mean, how many times did we spend late hours in the office returning our constituents' phone calls and emails concerned about their safety and what was happening, what we were doing in the community as far as keeping people safe, and also, of course, how you are responsible for the first COVID testing site out on the East End here, based on your contacts with the hospital and local officials, which was very important, and I think shows how you have the ability to lead and continue if given the opportunity in September.
Well, thank you, but this one is about you.
Okay.
So, I know before you were on the village board, though, you did something else, planning board?
Well, planning board. I was appointed to the planning board in 2003. At that time, Don Hunting was the chair, and we worked very well together with the rest of my colleagues on the planning board. And then Don, of course, decided to step down. I think it was 2005, thereabouts, and I became chair at that time. So I was chair from that time until 2008 when I was elected to the village board.
Don is one of those irreplaceable people, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're very lucky to have him.
Just a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Yes, wonderful, exactly. So what do you think are the big challenges going forward for the village right now?
Well, there's several of them. First and foremost, I think, is a sewer system. I mean, we're going to need that to move forward for the commercial core. And so that's going to be very important. As you know, we're in discussions now and have been discussions for several years regarding a sewage system, which started with, first of all, water quality, which of course is equally as important, but that started when we hired Lombardo Associates.
Right.
Got involved in the water quality, and then the natural offshoot of that was sewage treatment. And so we started discussing that, and then hired Nelson Pope Voorhees to guide us to where we are today. And some people might think it's been a slow process, but that's sometimes how government works. I mean, you have to realize this is going to be a multi-million-dollar project, multi-year project. And if you don't get the basics right, it can go wrong pretty badly. And I think anybody that knows that it hasn't been slow in coming at all.
Right.
In fact, we've been working very diligently. A perfect example of that is West Hampton. They just put theirs in. A lot of years of planning, but once the construction started, it went relatively quickly.
Yes, and hopefully in the next few years we'll see that happen here. That's the plan. What other challenges do you see for East Hampton?
Well, I think moving forward, I think because of COVID, we've actually started one that I think has been a great success, is outside dining. People have, I think, asked for that, and we were able to get it done more quickly based on the governor's emergency order, in which I could capitalize on, and then do my own emergency orders and get that started. I think it's been a terrific success, and I think people like it. And so I'd kind of like to start discussions this fall to get it codified for next spring, so we can start next spring with it. And again, I think it's been a great success.
I think it's a complicated issue, and it's another one that's not going to happen overnight, because we have to talk about, can they do it on the public right of way? We don't want, we don't want to impede pedestrian access to the sidewalks. We don't want it to be dangerous. We had to give up some parking spaces. So I think there are a lot of issues that have to be talked through, and we have to try to figure out how we can do it safely. And it might not work everywhere, and it might be special situations where it will work. So, what else do you want to say? Anything?
Well, I think we also should talk about the inns. I mean, that's been a very, very important issue this election, and I think that we need to talk about that and what's going to happen as far as that's concerned. I think that is something that very much differentiates us from our opponents. Just to give a little bit of background, these inns are a very important part of our community. I think people need to remember that when they were first started, they were owner-operated. By that I mean the owners actually lived at the inn. Now, since then, of course, they've been taken over by partnerships and corporations, and I think have changed dramatically. I don't know that people are aware that several of them have bought multiple houses adjoining their properties and have expanded beyond their mandate already, and that's part of what our job is in order to maintain the quiet and tranquility of our neighborhoods. All of these inns are in residential neighborhoods, and so it's our responsibility to make sure that they can survive, but do it in a way that is not going to disrupt the quiet neighborhoods that exist now. So I think that's very important. So I think people should realize that. And our opponents continually try to say that, well, people that bought these houses knew that they bought next to an inn. Well, the converse is true. The people that bought these inns knew that they were small, quaint, pre-existing, non-conforming inns, and they knew or should have known what their limitations were. So they bought them knowing that, or they should have known that anyway, and so that they should have realized that there's only so far that they can go with them. Again, we want to do what we can to help them survive, but the idea that they need to expand dramatically in order to become or stay a viable business, I think is absolutely not true. And so I think it's our job to find some happy medium, which I think that we can do. And I think our system is the better system. The fact, special permit, and they would have to apply for a special permit for their larger gatherings if they're to happen, and there would be special rules that they would have to abide by. And I think that's the fair way to do it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm sure our everybody watching appreciates getting to know you a little bit. Thank you so much.
And thanks for having me.
You're welcome.